Good morning. My name is Allison, and today I will be talking about my culture and heritage of being Irish Catholic. As I said, my name is Allison. That's a name passed down from my great grandfather, whose parents brought him to this country to escape English oppression of their family in Ireland. And it's a name I carry with me, and it's a tradition that my family holds. And tradition is defined in our textbook as a value encompassing the respect, commitment, and acceptance of customs, ideas, and traditions provided by one's culture or religion. A great example of how my family and I value tradition and pursue the ongoing of traditions of being Irish Catholic is our family celebration of St. Patrick's Day. St. Patrick's Day is viewed a lot as a holiday of mass inebriation and partying, but me and my family take that day and we go to mass and in the Catholic Church, and we reflect on our family history and how our family got here from Ireland. It's not just my family that came here for my children, it's my wife's as well, whose grandparents came here from Belfast, Northern Ireland, to escape violence against Catholics in the 1970s. So it's a culture that's still very prevalent in our lives, and we like to honor these traditions just to keep it alive and look at the sacrifices that both me and my wife's family had to make and how that delineates down to our children. Another really big tradition we take part in is going with the Celtic Society up north to the Pleasanton Highland Games every Labor Day weekend. We go, we camp out, we listen to bagpipes, my daughter river dances, me and my dad will go up and participate in rugby. And it's just a time to reflect, honor these timeless traditions in our culture, and really keep those forward and in the front of our minds. The next value I'd like to talk about is indulgence versus restraint. Our textbook defines indulgence versus restraint as the extent to which people in a society are allowed to freely satisfy their desires and enjoy life, otherwise known as indulgence, versus being controlled by strict social norms. Um, I think this is very prevalent in not just being Irish, but being Catholic as well, due to the fact that I would grow up hearing priests preach at me about the evils of drugs and alcohol and consumption of these things, and how that didn't directly, lead to a heavenly life that we were supposed to lead. But then these same priests would come to the men's club with my dad, where I would tag along with them sometimes, and get completely inebriated on, alcoholic adult beverages that were available. And so I always thought that it was really funny, sort of this balance of indulgence and restraint in being Catholic, and how these opposing ideas kind of intertwine. Because even being Irish, we're supposed to live this godly life, yet we have this folk music that's Tim Finnegan's Wake, which takes a Catholic funeral procession, and they proceed to drink and fight, or whiskey in the jar, or these things that sort of are opposing ideas, but they somehow intertwine into this culture, which I can really appreciate about my culture, but I could definitely see as one of the many problems in my culture. Um, and although I can see these as a problem, the biggest part of my community that I love is the benevolence of my community and my culture. And our textbook definition of benevolence is the quality of being kind and helpful, or desire to do good to others. And whether it be in the Celtic American Society, the Irish American Society, the Scottish American Military Society, I'm constantly reminded by these people around me that share my culture, um, the benevolence, the willingness to help and be kind. And I'm really reminded of this past month when we went to the Pleasanton Highland Games, and my son was in need. He's getting big enough now of his first kilt, uh, sporran, belt, all that stuff. And so my dad's old friend Marion from Scotland, she goes ahead and gives him all of these things for free from her business. And, these things value together probably around $600. And, I asked her simply why, like why she would do that. It was so kind of her. It was so nice. She didn't have to. And she told me just for the next generation to carry on the traditions and the customs and to carry on the Celtic, the Catholic side of this heritage and to keep it going through the next generation. And that really hit home for me. I thought that really exemplified what I thought was beautiful about my culture. And so, in reflecting on the values of my Irish Catholic heritage, I noticed that tradition serves as the foundation upon which indulgence and benevolence are built. But while tradition connects us to our ancestors and cultural practices, indulgence versus restraint reveals the complexities of living within those traditions, highlighting the joy and struggles inherent in our way of life. Benevolence, on the other hand, embodies the kindness and community spirit that emerges from our cultural identity, reinforcing the importance of helping one another. And together, these values shape my identity, instilling a sense of pride in my heritage and a commitment to carrying forward the legacy of my family while navigating the nuances of modern life. And thank you guys very much for listening.